REI Co-op presents a mini mindfulness break. Take a deep breath in, picture yourself on a mountain. As you hold your breath, look down at your skis, freshly waxed thanks to your REI membership, carving through powder like a knife to warm butter. Breathe out slowly, let the air leave your lungs, like you'd leave your local co-op with all the gear, clothing, classes, and advice you could hope for. Make time to opt outside. REI.com.
Since you're new to H&R Block, we'll look at your returns from the last 3 years for any money your last guy might have missed, for free.
I could get money back from last year?
You could. We'll find any mistakes.
Could have really used that 2 years ago when I dated that mistake for 5 months.
Don't leave money on the table. Switch to H&R Block and get a free Second Look review. Second Look is included at no additional cost with the purchase of tax preparation. Results vary. All tax situations are different. Fees apply if you have us file an amended return.
Hey Atlanta, Apple is open for small business. That's right. We're here to make starting and running your business simpler. With privacy and security built in on all devices, it's easy for you to protect your customers' data. And if you need hardware or software support, you'll get advice from business experts at no cost whatsoever. So you can focus more on the soup du jour and less on, the other stuff. At Apple, we're open for your small business. Go to apple.com/small business or visit an Apple store to learn more.
Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of Keep Watch Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. On several occasions, I have let it be known that I'm a bit of a fan of Doctor Who, the TV show that has been around for decades upon decades upon decades, over 60 years. Of tales of the Time Lord. And there have been a few Time Lords. There have been a few Doctors. So we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to do movies starring the Doctor. And here to join me for this episode, my lovely nurse, my wife, Carrie. How you doing?
I could play a doctor on TV.
Hello, nurse.
I'm like, I've been downgraded.
Still a medical professional. It's all good. Not that the doctor is a medical professor. They're a professional at all. At all. Okay. You have joined me in following the escapades of the doctor. But I need to point out something here, dear listeners, if I may. And I might embarrass Carrie here a little bit. So bear with me here. So I grew up watching Doctor Who during like the Tom Baker years. And I just showed my age. But still, regardless of. And I kind of fell off around the Colin Baker years. Didn't really watch Sylvester McCoy. And Christopher Eccleston came in and was like, ooh, the Doctor's back. Doctor Who is here. And of course you have David Tennant. And this is when Carrie joins in around season 4, the year of David Tennant and Catherine Tate. And the very first episode she really sits down and watches is one with the Ood. Now, my wife has a sensitive stomach when it comes to vomiting. So when this guy had to spit out like the Ood ball and became Ood, I'm surprised you stuck around. So what was it that actually made you stick around for the rest of Doctor Who?
You know what? It is, I love that every episode is a new adventure. And it's not all Ood, and it's not all the Daleks, and it's not, it is always so cleverly written.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's an adventure through time and space. And where will the Doctor and the TARDIS and his companion, whoever it is.
And not just where, but when will they end up as
and
well?
When, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're really, and the funny thing is, there really is a Doctor for everybody, right? every doctor is going to be somebody's favorites. And we could sit here and debate who the best doctor is and turn that into an entire podcast. But there are Doctor Who related podcasts. We're not that one. We're just taking one episode and talking about movies starring the Doctor. Now, I'm not saying it's a Doctor Who movie. We're talking about films starring someone who, during the last 60 years, has played the Doctor.
And there have been some incredible actors.
Oh, yeah.
Which made it really difficult to, pick a doctor out of, 13? 14?
No. Well, I mean, here's the thing. 14 was Tennant again, but so that you could count, Ncuti Gatwa, but you could also count John Hurt as the War Doctor, right? So there are different directions that you could go with this, but it'll be interesting to see because we're talking about movies, and because we don't really jump on TV shows, that means that we have to eliminate things like Jessica Jones, House of the Dragon with Matt Smith, right? Or Staged, the greatest pandemic production of all time. By the way, if you haven't watched Staged, you are missing out on hilarity. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick 3 movies each, a keep, a watch, and a pass. The keep is one that we hold in very high regard. The watch is one that we hold in our collection. And the pass is one that, doctor aside, maybe the movie just didn't pass muster. Not that we would exterminate it, but it just doesn't pass muster. So, Carrie, I'm going to pass the sonic screwdriver over to you. What is your keep film starring the Doctor?
I'm keeping Christopher Robin, the live action adventure of Christopher Robin, where Winnie the Pooh and his friends, Tigger too, and Peter Capaldi, who voices the rabbit in this movie, all band together. Eeyore, Piglet, Rabbit, Pooh, and it's such a touching, heartwarming story where they realize that Christopher Robin has grown up and he's maybe unhappy in his life and his job and his family that are all weighing.
I know how this movie goes, and then eventually Pooh and Piglet start killing everybody.
No, that was the other Pooh movie. Yeah.
Not starring Peter Capaldi.
Not Blood and Honey. No. But the stuffy friends go and help to remind Christopher Robin about his childhood. And they bring him back to a time where magic and imagination were everything. And I love it.
You know what? I know we talked about the first Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey film. We had to. It was nominated for a Razzie. We had to. I think the problem with those films, and just bear with me here, is that they take away from what is the magic of these franchises. And to be able to have a film like 2018's Christopher Robin, like, you have a truly heartfelt film. It also stars Ewan McGregor and Haley Atwell. Like, it's a very cute film and a great cast. Peter Capaldi is Rabbit. I love it. Absolutely love it. These films that are taking advantage of, and let's be honest, they're taking advantage of the copyrights becoming public domain. It ruins like a legacy of these characters.
I can't look at Mickey Mouse the same way anymore.
Let's see, at least Mousetrap was comically funny in a way.
Oh, I love the movie. Don't get me wrong.
I hated the ending. You know I hate the ending on that one. But for a while, I was right with you until the end. And then they drove it into the ground and ruined it. They could have had a real classic meta hit on their hands, but they went the other way. But Blood and Honey, I understand why they did it, because they could. And The concept is so out there that it was bound to get noticed no matter what. But in the end, it hurts films like this one.
I think it's two completely different genres. Christopher Robin, as I was referring to, was a family movie.
Oh no,
Had
I know,
nothing
I
to
get
do
that.
with.
But somewhere down the road, right? Because we're getting close to like the Poonaverse, the third film, and they're just continuing to crap on the legacy of the character. And at some point, people are going to go back and go, oh, so this is what it's supposed to be. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a purist and I think my characters, I mean, put in a parody in Saturday Night Live, it's kind of funny, right? 3-minute little gag. But as its own horror franchise, meh. And I think it's a disservice to good films like this one, like Christopher Robin.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouthwatering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Don't miss out on the final football game of the season with Prize Picks. Join now because Prize Picks are giving away a free pick for the big game where 1 yard equals 1 win. Just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Download the Prize Picks app and use code FIELD and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code FIELD on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
I find it funny that you went with a Peter Capaldi film because I too went with the Peter Capaldi film for my keep, which is funny because Peter Capaldi is not high up on my list of my favorite doctors. But I'm going with a vastly different film from you. I'm going with World War Z because not only was he the doctor in Doctor Who, but in World War Z, he was a WHO doctor. That is what he's credited as, a WHO doctor. Yeah.
Foreshadowing.
Dun, dun, dun. Again, these are the thoughts that kept me out of the good schools here. But the thing with World War Z, and I understand that it is entirely different from the Max Brooks book that it came from. But this is one of the few times that a zombie film has portrayed zombies as horrifyingly fast and lethal and brutal. Like, how many times have we watched a zombie movie and it's like brains, or it's played off for comedy, right? You either get lumbering, slow zombies that are mindless, or you get comedic zombies. Here, you had terrifyingly fast, swarming zombie hordes. Like, this was nightmare fuel. Like, this is the opposite of Shaun of the Dead. This is the opposite of The Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. And yeah, it's opposite to the book that it came from, but it's a good film if you ignore the fact that it's titled World War Z. You call this film anything else, and it is one of the greatest zombie films of all time. But because you called it World War Z and it doesn't really resemble the book, it's a failure at that point because it hasn't done its job to be what it says it is. any other title, and this is one of the greatest zombie films. And kudos to them for doing this kind of film because it showed zombies in a different light, featuring a very small role from Mr. Peter Capaldi. You thought I was going to say the Suicide Squad, didn't you? No, I didn't want to be Captain Obvious. Every now and then I'll throw a curveball here. Sometimes I have to go down that road, but every now and then I'll throw you a curveball.
I was almost afraid to say because I thought maybe it's your keep.
No.
Or maybe it's your watch.
No. Because my watch is a completely different doctor. My watch stars the 13th Doctor, one Miss Jodie Whittaker, who I actually think she was a really good doctor, just didn't have the storylines that Tennant and Smith had during their runs. This film is called Adult Life Skills, and she was actually also the exec producer on this one. This is a really nice, heartfelt story. So she plays the character Anna, who had lost her twin brother and moved back into her mother's shed, and she wasn't really ready to kind of move forward. So she's basically like hiding back. She hasn't grown up at this point. She's basically still dealing with the trauma of losing her twin brother. And then along the way, her mother's trying to get her to move out of the shed so she can kind of move on with her life and move past this trauma. And then at some point, she has to look after this little 8-year-old kid while the kid's mother is dealing with a medical condition. And it's kind of like a coming of age, post-trauma kind of story. Jodie Whittaker is fantastic in this.
How old was she in this?
It's not that long ago
younger?
because no, it's not that long ago because the movie won the award for Best Female Director at the 2016 Tribeca Film Festival. So not that long ago. So she's playing someone who's, if I remember correctly, she's close to 30 years old in the film. The thing is, if we were talking TV shows, Jodie Whittaker would also be up for mention because she's in Broadchurch, which also happens to star David Tennant. And Broadchurch is a fantastic show, and she's great in that too. That first season of Broadchurch is heartbreaking, and Jodie Whittaker is it's David Tennant's show and Olivia Colman, but it also has Arthur Darvill, who played Rory Williams during the Matt Smith. So basically it's like the Doctor Who reunion show at that point. But this was before Jodie Whittaker became the Doctor. So Broadchurch, fantastic show. Adult Life Skills is a fun, little heartfelt film that if you like character-driven stories, you're going to love this one. Over to you, Carrie, your watch film.
I just have to take a moment to just say how angry this assignment made me. I am angry with you.
Me?
For not allowing television series to be considered.
Right.
And I am angry with Mr. David Tennant and Michael Sheen, but that lying David Tennant for not making Staged a movie. Because, damn it, was this not my absolute favorite show?
We still watch seasons 1 and 2 ad nauseum.
It needs to be made into a movie, though, so we can actually talk about it, so I can actually make it.
Is anyone going to watch an hour and a half of Michael Sheen and David Tennant over Zoom?
Yes. We do. We did. We will. But damn it, we do it again.
All right. Dear Georgia Tennant, because we know you kind of run that show, make it happen.
Please make it a movie.
Right?
Or even a stage play turned into a movie.
I'll tell you what. If you promise to make it a movie, we will allow Simon to come back.
Or
if you haven't watched Stage, now you just need to.
Or, as I mentioned, even make Staged into a stage play and then make it into a movie, because that is what I had to pick here with David Tennant as Macbeth. And I am so looking forward to seeing this movie. I've not yet seen it, but from what I've seen of the trailer, he doesn't even have to deliver a line, and he's horrifying. The intensity of just the look on his face in the trailer was enough to make me go, oh my God, we, without a doubt, are going to watch this. It's going to be the movie that I watch and then rewatch and then try to find the DVD and keep watching it. So there you go, Macbeth.
I will admit that I was looking through David Tennant's filmography to see if there was a film, because really David Tennant is my favorite Doctor, with Matt Smith and Tom Baker 2A and 2B. And Jodie Whittaker, really, I would put Jodie Whittaker and Peter Davidson as my 3A and 3B, because I thought Jodie Whittaker brought a lot of life to the Doctor, brought a spunk to the Doctor, and I don't think she gets the credit that she deserves.
And with that said, David Tennant is such a fantastic actor. But for the most part,
it's TV shows.
Television.
Yeah.
Which doesn't qualify for the show. And that's where I have issue with you for making the rules.
And David Tennant for not being in more movies. Yes.
Yes. Because, I mean, oh my God, his performance as Kilgrave in Jessica Jones.
Jessica Jones season 1, I will go to war with anyone and say that Jessica Jones season 1 was the best single season of any Netflix Marvel show, period. And I recognize that Daredevil is fantastic. Jessica Jones season 1 because of David Tennant. Kristen Ritter too. I thought she was fantastic, but yeah, Tennant is cool because he made you feel for the villain. At points you're like, oh dear God, Kilgrave is the sympathetic character. He made a sympathetic villain who does horrible things. And you're like, oh, I understand. Tennant's awesome. But that's just, that's just me fanboying. I get it. But now we get to our pass film of movies starring the Doctor. So, Carrie, what did you go with?
Well, this is challenging for me, too, because you know that I am also a huge Matt Smith fan.
Oh, you can't go wrong with Matt Smith.
He and Tennant, you know what? I used to be able to say that as far as Doctor Who, those were my two favorites. And then introduce Shudigatwa, which, I mean, come on. He is so good.
Oh, he's fantastic.
He is just so incredible to watch.
That man dances on screen, and it's wonderful.
I know. So now I have three favorite Doctors. But that aside, Matt Smith, I am so sorry. You're wonderful. This has nothing to do with you.
I know what's coming.
It's really based on my hate for Jared Leto.
It's Morbin time, isn't it?
It's Morbin time. I have to pass. I always have to pass on Morbius. And it is, again, not a thing to do with Matt Smith. It's...
you know what's funny? Because we covered Morbius on It's Not That Bad with our good friend Kevin Hillsden, my former Just Another Nerd Show co-host. And there were good things to say about Morbius. Not really, none of them Jared Leto. But I felt so bad for Matt Smith because his character suffered from the tonal shift in the film. Like, he goes from this sympathetic character to all of a sudden he's like hot dancing in the middle of some like weird hotel room. I'm like, all right, get on with your bad self there, Matt Smith. Go have fun, I guess. But he is fantastic in House of the Dragon. He is horrifyingly real in Charlie Says when he plays Charles Manson. Like, you watch that. If you like Matt Smith, you watch it, you're like, yee. Matt Smith is a fantastic actor. I mean, there are films of his filmography that I have not had a chance to watch yet, but are on my I really want to watch them list. I've been eyeballing Pride and Prejudice and Zombies for an episode of It's Not That Bad for a bit. We haven't gotten around to it. But also, I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch Last Night in Soho that also stars Anya Taylor-Joy. I am really curious about that film, and I really want to go down that road. And I don't think it qualifies for the podcast, but it just looks like a very, very cool film to watch. Like, stylistically, very cool. So Matt Smith is picking some really cool roles. He's also in Terminator Genesis, but still, regardless of, he picked some really cool roles to go down, which is why I couldn't pick any of his movies for a past film, even though I too went with a comic book film. And it's not the one you're thinking, because I was wondering if you were going to pick Morbius as your past film. Because I was going to start like, oh, you know, it's a comic book film starring a very good doctor. But no, it is a comic book film and it stars a very good doctor. But it is an absolute waste of a perfectly good Christopher Eccleston when I say that I am passing on Thor: The Dark World. Malekith is the most thrown away villain in the entire MCU. Anyone complaining about the Marvels or the Eternals or Secret Invasion, I want you to go back and see what the hell they did with Malekith and the Dark Elves. You have Christopher Eccleston, who almost made my keep film, because I didn't want to be Captain Obvious. I didn't want to be Captain Obvious because he's in a film that we're going to be talking about on this show soon enough. On It's Not That Bad. So I don't want to blow it there. But just know that I'll be talking about Mr. Christopher Eccleston. But he was also in this TV show called The A Word. It is an amazing TV show. And if you care for or know anyone on the autism spectrum, The A Word is a fantastic show and he is amazing in it. He got done dirty in The Dark World. Everyone got done dirty in The Dark World. It's not a good Marvel film. It is actually my least favorite MCU film. I do not like it. And even though they kind of retconned it a little bit in Endgame and gave it a new level of prominence and importance, it wasn't because of Malekith. I'm sure there are people right now listening to this who have watched Thor: The Dark World, but like, oh yeah, the Dark Elves were in this. Malekith was in this. I don't remember. He's not Christopher Eccleston, but the character. Because Eccleston's buried under the makeup. You can't, if you didn't know, you wouldn't know. Malekith is such a forgettable character in the history of the MCU. And that's unfortunate. And I appreciate that really when it comes to a Thor film, the real villain is always Loki. But you done Christopher Eccleston dirty in this one. I have struggled to watch Thor: The Dark World all the way through and not fall asleep. It's a slog. It's a slog of a superhero film and one of the few missteps that the MCU has done. Now, that being said, a misstep on the MCU side is still a massive win for many other comic book franchises, but nope, passing on The Dark World. Carrie, thank you so much for this. Now, please remind our listeners what your keep, watch, and past picks are for movies starring the Doctor.
I am keeping Christopher Robin with Peter Capaldi voicing for the Rabbit, and I'm watching Macbeth soon enough. We have our tickets, and I'm passing once again on Morbius.
Not Morbin time, eh? I am keeping World War Z starring Peter Capaldi. I am watching Adult Life Skills, starring and exec produced by Jodie Whittaker. And I am passing on Thor: The Dark World, starring Christopher Eccleston. Oh, yeah, it's Malekith. Yeah, he's there. Carrie, thank you so much. And to you, our dear listeners, well, you guys know the drill. If there's a topic that you want us to cover on Keep Watch Pass, or a movie that you want us to cover on It's Not That Bad, hit us up on social media at Not That Badcast, or go to our website at notthatbadcast.com. And while you're there, make sure you check out our merch section in our merch store, because if you want to help support us, we have a bunch of products from this show and from There Can Only Be One and Spin Shuffle Skip that you can purchase and actually help us create more shows for you guys. If you like what we do, all your help is really appreciated. Until next time, she's Carrie, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is Keep Watch Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.